Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the East Broad Top Railroad. So it's been about a month since I last released a video, so I figured I would give another video so that way you guys can see what I've been up to. So yeah, let's dive into it. So there have been a bunch of things that have been reworked here in the yard. The big one being the coal tipple here. I ended up finding a different asset and different retaining wall that I liked a lot better. So it looks a lot better. However, the only thing that was not fixed is unfortunately the ramp from right here at the shed all the way down to here is still tied to this to the coal tipple itself. So I cannot smooth out that angle at all. It drives me up a wall, but unfortunately there's nothing that I can do to fix that. But anyway, moving on. Orbisonia has got a rework in progress. I didn't like the old buildings that I was using, so I'm replacing it with these kind of buildings, at least on Main Street. I'll probably leave a lot of these for the town, because the town in real life does look a lot more like this, but I like these a lot better. Plus, I think it really does fit the aesthetic a lot better, so yeah. Anyway, moving back over here, sorry, I'm bouncing around a lot. But I ended up finding a better reskin of the Orbisonia station, which has a lot better paint on it, so I like that a lot better. Definitely going to be using that. So, that's that. Moving on, the one... Sorry, that's my Alexa in the background, but one thing that was driving me up a wall was the old water treatment plant with the smoke that would blow halfway across the map. And like I said I would, I replaced it, and I think this one looks a lot better. It's got some moving bits to it, and the smoke is highly manageable, so I'm a fan. Moving on here, the next big thing that you'll see is I reworked the little cut here. I know it's not really how it looks in real life, but I also hated the way it looked. It just looked like I painted it on. I really wasn't a fan, so I ended up replacing it. Alright, moving up here, the next thing that you guys will notice is actually not something visual, but an auditory one. I actually ended up fooling around with sounds, track sounds and stuff. So from here on out, I will shut up until we get down to the Colgate Y, so that way you guys can hear a little bit of the sights and sounds that I've put into the route so far. Alrighty, so that is some of the sounds. Some of them are going to be replaced. As you can hear, some of them are a little more annoying than others, but unfortunately with sounds, at least from my current knowledge, the only way I know how they sound is if I put them in the game. Excuse me. So that's the plan there. I just realized I'm gonna have to fix that. That looks a little goofy. But anyway, moving on here. So I should say that nothing has really changed here, but I will say that everything from right here before this bridge and the way we're looking, so everything south of here, was done with me and another person. However, that person has since decided to take an indefinite leave on the project due to burnout. So everything from where you see on the bottom of your screen behind us is all stuff that I've done by myself. So without further ado, let's show you what I've been up to. So this is pretty much everything I've done since the last video. So I realized I missed a lot of things in Shirleysburg. I missed the siding, I missed the depot, and I missed the little stream/bridge. So it's a work in progress, but I like overall the way this appears to be. It looks okay. And over here in Shirleysburg, I took my best crack at what I would imagine this would be like. So if I got it wrong, if any of you are experts in the EBT, let me know below. I will go back and fix it, but this is my best guess as to what it looked like. I know there was a passing siding here, and then I also know that there was a passenger siding, so that's my best guess as to what it looked like. This is, from the pictures that I've seen, this is what Shirleysburg Depot looked like. It wasn't anything major, it was just some little tiny, pretty much just a shack. And then there was this asset that said it was the Shirleysburg section house. Not sure if it belongs here or if it belongs somewhere else, but if I do have it in the wrong place and somebody knows where it's supposed to go, let me know and I will happily fix it. Moving on, the graveyard got a complete rework, so no longer am I using those other assets that look like European stuff. This is pretty much every gravestone asset in the game, so if it's not here, it doesn't exist. Well, at least not with freeware. But anyway, I think it looks really nice, and I replaced the embankment here, so it'll be a really cool scene for you guys to film with trains going through the graveyard. Alright, moving on. Everything from here in the last video was unfinished, so let's go over what I've done. So the roads are no longer floaty. I've grassed in here a good bit. It practically is finished, and the road now has its proper abutments, and I know it's a little bit floaty and I'll have to fix it, but overall pretty good. So I like it. It's actually a 4-tier system, so you got the creek over here, then you got the railroad, then the first road, and then the second road. So I really like how it looked. Deviating away from the main line here, everything over here I'm going to cut back on details for, because it's not something that you're going to readily see from the railroad, and seeing as how you're not going to see it from the railroad or in any scenes that you would be shooting, maybe outside of aerials, it's not going to need to be super detailed. So it's going to be very base detailing with like stuff that looks like this, where it's a driveway and a house, maybe a fence, but that's it. Alright, moving on. This is pretty much all the same through here. I did try and mimic a scene here where there's a road and the mountain kind of splits off to accommodate for the road going up here. Probably going to put some cabins up there or something, I don't know. For some reason, this keeps sinking into the thing, and I don't know why. I keep fixing it, and it keeps messing itself up again. But anyways, we go down here. We have the Pump House Station Road. And honestly, this is probably one of my favorite scenes coming up. But there we got the pump house, and I think it looks nice. It's honestly pretty accurate to what was there in real life. But so this scene, I'll just show it to you first, and I'll explain what it is as you're looking at it. So this is the scene. I absolutely love it. This is completely fictional, so none of this used to actually be there. There was a farm here, but it wasn't that. And I really wanted to use this barn asset in a place where you actually get an appreciation for it, not just it's a background asset, and this is what I came up with. So I happen to love this scene. I think it's a really neat thing. But moving on. So we're very quickly approaching Ogwick here, so let's give you a little showdown. So in the last one, this all was empty. and now all this has very basic detailing in it. Started fooling around with some different barn assets. Alright, moving on down here. Even in the 1950s, you would have a foamer somewhere, so I had to include that in here somewhere. So we got somebody that's waiting on a train, and to be honest, they're probably going to be waiting on a train for a very long time. But so we get to Ogwick. One of the things that I did from the last video was that I said I really hated the look of the still water splines that I was using. It would save on GPU space and rendering stuff, but honestly, I hated the way it looked, so I ended up replacing it with real water like I said I would. Let's give you a before and after. So the before, this is what it looked like. Kind of bland, kind of dull. Like, don't get me wrong, it looks good in the background, but as you can see, there's little to no reflections at all. I mean, you got the sunlight, but that's it. And then the after. So if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know right there, I really don't know what will. But this is how it looks now. So I love it way, 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 way better than it was when it was the still water asset. Yeah. All right. So from here on out, this is everything that I've done in the last week. So grass is still a work in progress. However, it is pretty much detailed other than grass at this point. So this is kind of fictitious, but kind of not. So there are 6 farms from here until the end of where I've gotten that are fictional to the EBT, but they're actually stolen from somewhere else in Pennsylvania. And if you guys know where the original scenes are, list it in the comments, because I'm really curious to see who all knows where these assets are actually from. But this is an idea I had. I really like this this barn that had the advertisement of Gordon's Orchard, so I ended up making it an orchard. So we got an apple orchard here. Looks like they're in season, and then they also have some cherries here, so that's nice. But anyway, I thought that was a really cool thing, really cool scene to do. Moving on here, we got a bunch more farm fields and all that fun stuff. We got some more farms over there, and over here we have another farm. This one being the second of the 6 that are from somewhere else. It's still working on the overall fencing stuff, but we're getting there. Was experimenting to see if I wanted to make this a crop field rather than a field with horses and stuff, but I think I'm going to leave it as a horse and cattle field. But anyway, moving on. So we got over here off to our left is the 3rd of the 6 fictional farms, all from the same place, by the way. But so I think this looks really cool. I love this barn asset. You can see the actual bricks missing on it. I love it. So I'm a fan, so I wanted you guys to be able to see that. So I think it looks really nice. And then you got a really beautiful ramp here that's very nicely done. But all right, moving on, going down here. So right here was an old road that sometime before 1948 was taken out. So before then, this driveway was actually a road. So I wanted to show that it was something. But anyway, moving on. So we got our 3rd farm here that's fictional but not so fictional. And I really like the way these look overall. They just look like very nice assets. So there's your 3rd farm. I think it looks very nice. Or this is the 4th farm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4. Anyway, moving on. So we got a nice little crossing here, which is nice. Nice view. We got some cornfields. We got over here, we got another farm. This is the 4th fictional farm. Or 5th fictional farm. Jeez, I can't count. So that's nice. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it, but overall that's pretty much how it's going to look. And right here is our 6th and final fictional farm, which might give away where this is from, but I loved this, and I think that's a really cool scene to film, but I really like the way this looks. This is kind of the farm that started off this whole thing, but ironically, all 6 of these farms are one giant Easter egg in the route, so that's pretty neat. You know what? Just because I'll spoil it. Basically, this is essentially what it looks like. If you don't know where it was, this should give it away. But if the cannons and the farms don't tell you where this is stolen from, I don't know what will. So if you guys guessed it, congratulations. If not, now you know where it's from. But yes, this is Gettysburg. I ended up finding these farms on the DLS, and I'm like, well, what do I do with them? And I started looking at the farms for inspiration, and I thought that they deserved to be incorporated into the route in some place, so that's what I ended up doing. So anyway, moving on, because there's still stuff to do, still stuff to show. Here we got Adam's sighting, so this would be the last sighting before Mount Union. It was approximately 1,400 feet long, which I have modeled out here to the correct length. And yeah, so I'm not sure how often this is used, if at all, but it's here, so we do have that. And everything from here onward, I've actually been using a aerial view from the year 1957, so 1 year after the EBT closed, so it's pretty accurate as to what would be there. So this bridge, or this road that goes off to the left is here in real life as of now, but this one that goes diagonal across the tracks was torn up sometime between 1957 and the 1980s. Not sure when, but this no longer exists. But since I'm modeling it in the 1950s, it's going to stay there. So I think that's pretty neat. I like the way it looks. I will say that from this point onward, it's very base detailed. As you can see, we have floaty track, floaty roads, and just, you know, very, very base detailing with the farms and whatnot. But anyway, moving on. So lots of farms that are almost done are painted and stuff. Yeah, and that's where I got into now. But just to give you an idea of where we stand with the railroad, so it won't take me long to get to here. It really won't. And right here, I don't know if you can read that, but that's where the dual gauge ends. Right there. So once we get here, we are officially in Mount Union territory. So, and if that doesn't really seal the deal, right here is the edge of the yard. So we are very, very close to reaching Mount Union. I would imagine we will hit Mount Union probably within the next update. I will probably have all of this either base detailed or mostly detailed out to the point where we can actually, you know, focus solely on Mount Union. But anyway, Mount Union wise, really nothing's gone on. If you haven't seen the track work already, this is the way it looks. I think it looks very nice. Let me know what you guys think, but I happen to think that it looks very, very nice. There's going to be some stuff that changes, but overall, this is the way it's going to look. Yeah, I started placing down all these brick kilns. There are going to be third-party assets that you're going to have to download on this route. Not all of these are on the DLS, so unfortunately there are no brick kilns on the DLS at all, and the only ones that I could find were from Trainz Forge, so we will make do with what we got. So we do have brick kilns from Trainz Forge. Anyway, moving on. So honestly, other than the yard, nothing's been done, but from here, it just goes through town, services the other silica brick plant, and then just goes up a hill and joins up with the Pensy main line. So I've elevated the Pensy main line to roughly about where it should be, but that might change a little bit. But other than that, that's the progress on the route as it stands as of 5 minutes before recording this video. So yeah, we're very, very close. We're probably one diagonal block away from reaching yard limits with details. So it'll be exciting. Timeline, I don't want to give you guys a definitive timeline because there isn't really, but I would imagine that once I get to Mount Union, I do hate towns, but I have somebody that's going to be helping me with Mount Union. So once we get to Mount Union, I would imagine that this will go by relatively quickly. So once Mount Union is finished, that will free up my time that I can go back, polish off the little bits of the route that I haven't focused on yet, and I'll hopefully be able to release phase 1, which is up to Mount Union, probably sometime in May. That is my timeline, either May or June. From there, phase 2 is going to be going from right here in Rock Hill / Orbisonia, and depending on how long it takes, it's either going to go to Saltillo or it's going to go to Alvin. I'm not sure which, or Robertsdale rather. I don't know if it's going to go all the way to Alvin, because I got plans for Alvin, secret plans, but I'll discuss more on that quite a ways in the future. But anyway, so one of the major things that was taking me so long with this is that it's very open and very fielded. As you can see, there's a lot of fields and stuff. However, when you go through all this, there's a lot more trees and stuff, so it's going to go a lot quicker, I would imagine. Pogue is going to probably be the one that really slows me down just to get the topography and the bridges and stuff right, but once I get it right, we're going to have that locked down. And then from here, it's little towns. So Three Springs isn't that big of a town, and neither is Saltillo. They're more akin to Rock Hill, so they're really not going to be hard. So I should be able to get those pretty quickly. And once I'm done with that, once I get to Saltillo, I have a feeling progress is going to go by a lot quicker until I get to Robertsdale, because if you look, it's just all trees and mountains. You have like one opening here at Fairview, and then the rest is all just mountains, 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 and mountains. Now, I will say the plan, if phase 2 goes to Robertsdale, it is not going to include the Jolly Branch. It is not going to include the what is it? The Richdale. What is it? Is it the Richdale? I forget. Rocky Ridge, damn it. I always forget. Rocky Ridge. Rocky Ridge. It's not going to include the Rocky Ridge branch line, because that's honestly a fairly big branch line, if it's not the biggest one other than Shade Gap. But it's not going to include Challer. It's not going to include the branch over there, Rocky Ridge. It's not going to include the Narcos Spur. I might do the Narcos Spur because that was actively served until the year 1956, but that was the only spur that was actively served. It's not going to have whatever the spur was, and it's not going to include anything past backlog. So eventually in the future, I will plan on going down to Shade Gap, but unfortunately, it's not going to serve anything but the Ganister Rock over here. That's where it's going to stop for phase 1. But anyway, moving on. Future plans for the route. So at some point, I might eventually get to the Neelington branch. There's a really cool backstory behind why this is here and why the EBT decided to go all the way down here to meet the turnpike. I'll have to share that story with you guys another time, but there is a reason for it. But anyway, the plan for release, phase 1 will be from Orbisonia to Mount Union. And once that is done, it will be released on Nugget Trainz. I've gotten permission from both of the creators, all three of them, all three of the founding creators, to go ahead and put it on their website. So that's what I'm going to do. At some point in the future, it will be released on the DLS as well. But I do have to iron out a few things before it is DLSable. However, this route is not going to be payware. It is going to be freeware. So this is not going to cost anybody any amount of money. So this is my gift from me to the community. I don't think it's fair that we have the Cumbres and Toltec and the Durango and Silverton, but we don't have an EBT yet. So this is my gift to you guys so that, you know, you guys have a EBT route to run. My goal is to eventually get the whole 33 miles done, so that way you guys can mimic operations how you want. But for now, you guys are just going to have to settle with staging coal trains here and then running them to Mount Union and then running the empties back. That being said, that's pretty much it. That's all I've done. One thing worth note, there's going to be some issues with Mount Union. Primarily, these are technically tipples, so they're not a coal processing plant. So they will not accept coal that you dump here. So in real life, these two tracks would be the coal dump, and then they would be taken up by a chute from right about here up into the coal wash, which pretty much looks like this, and where they would, you know, float it in sand, and it would actually sort out the sizes of coal. The process is interesting, but I'm not going to explain it. But the point is that it would go from right about here. Now, I'm going to probably just put a basic unloader here on both tracks, and that's going to be what you have to unload it with. There's really no other way that I can get around it, unfortunately. So if I figure out a way, I'll let you guys know. But just to let you know, these technically are coal tipples, so even if you do dump all of your coal into the unloader, these are only going to have a finite amount of coal that you can pick up. So, yeah. Not exactly sure how I'm going to get around that. If any of you know a 3D modeler that is willing to model some buildings for me, let me know, because I am definitely willing to pay monies to somebody who's willing to create me a Mount Union coal transfer facility, as well as the silica brick plant here, along with the other silica brick plant over there. So if any of you are interested, let me know, because I will pay. I will pay good monies. I am an adult and I have a big boy job, but yeah. So if any of you are willing to do that for me, that'd be excellent. Just let me know. Anyway, that is it for this video. If you have liked it, drop me a like, subscribe if you want. If not, I appreciate your view, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Until then, you guys have a great rest of your day. See ya.